Some of my friends have asked me for a recipe on how to make the Indian tea or chai. So we drink tea in the morning, like today. We just woke up and we make a cup of tea. Then we have tea in the afternoon. It's customary to have the afternoon tea. And then, of course, you could have tea at any time of the day in between the morning and afternoon tea. It is also customary to offer your guests a cup of tea. Sorry about the washing machine noise in the background. Tea is a very popular drink in India. Now, it is so popular that you'll find a scene with tea in any Indian movie that you watch. Now, here in the US and some Western countries, you probably have heard or seen something called chai tea. Now, I think that's a little bit of a misnomer because the Hindi word for tea is chai. And in other Indian languages, it's slightly different, chaha, chaya. And so it simply means tea if you say chai tea. But anyways, if you want to market it as a distinctive kind of tea, a spiced tea, I guess then it's fine to say chai tea. But let me tell you, the chai tea that you get in the stores is nowhere close to a good masala chai that you make at home. Now, a good masala chai needs to hit the right spot. Is there one way of making a good masala chai? Well, if you ask 1,000 people, you'll find 1,000 different ways of making tea. But today I will show you a simple method that is most often used by the tea stall vendors in Mumbai, where I grew up. And it basically uses ginger and cardamom to spice the black tea. Now, one word of caution here. Please use whole milk. Do not use 2% milk or skim milk. Now, the way I like to make it is, for 2 servings, I use 1 cup of whole fat milk and 1 cup of water. Now, you could increase the amount of milk. You could go 75% milk and 25% water or 100% milk. That's up to you. But don't use skim milk or don't use 2% milk. For the masala or the spice part of the tea, all I use is for each serving a piece of ginger, fresh ginger, and 3 pieces of cardamom. Next, what I do is take a mortar and pestle, put the cardamom in there first, and then grind it. Grind it so. Then I take the ginger, put the ginger in there, and mash it. Sometimes the cardamom flies out. Just put it back in. Grind it into a coarse paste. Next, I dump the paste into this pan. Pour the cup of whole milk into the pan. Add another cup of water to the milk. I poured a little water into the mortar to get the remaining ginger and cardamom that was left in the mortar, and I just pour it into the milk. Turn the stove on and leave it on high flame. One thing you get each morning with a hot cup of tea is a happy dog. Occasionally stir it so the milk doesn't stick to the bottom. Once the milk starts rising up, then lower the heat all the way to the lowest setting and add 1 teaspoon for each serving of tea leaves. This is our favorite brand of tea that we use here, the Taj Mahal, or as in the West you say Taj Mahal. That's what we like. Stir the tea leaves in and let it simmer on low heat so as to allow the tea to diffuse until you get a nice dark brown color to it. Now, if you like strong tea, you may want to put more tea leaves in it, but typically, like I said, I use 1 teaspoon for each serving. By letting it simmer like this, you also allow the ginger and the cardamom flavor to be infused in the tea. Once you get this color and you've allowed it to simmer for a few minutes, then you can add sugar. It is recommended to use 2 teaspoons for each serving, but again, it depends on your taste and you can adjust it accordingly. And stir the sugar in. After you've stirred the sugar in, I go ahead and increase the heat, the flame on the highest setting, and I'll let the whole thing rise up. Make sure you're stirring it. And as it foams and rises, I lower the heat and let it settle down. And then I turn the heat back on again and let it rise up. And then turn it back down. And after a couple of times of doing that, I turn the heat off, and that's it. So all you need is a strainer like this and strain tea.
Oh, that looks good.
Now in the tea stalls in Mumbai, they would do this, but do not try this at home. I'm going to try this. So what you get here is tea with a lot of foam and bubbles on top of it. In the tea stalls, they would typically serve you tea in these small glass cups, and half of it, it's called cutting tea or cutting chai. But today we're just going to drink in our regular teacups. And you can see the one on the left with all the foam because I pulled the tea.